I make any mistakes, I can select a note and delete it. But there's the bass part for the new section. Notice as I move from section 1 to section 2, even though there's a line there, when I hit print it will just merge the two together, no questions asked. So I have two sections now. And I think one of the most difficult concepts for students in music is to think about how does a piece develop the structure. And at GCSE that's really important to get a sense of structure. It's actually there in the marking structure. So what we can do is use this. It's a new kind of track. It's called the arranged track. When you select that, you get that little plus symbol. When you click on the plus, you can change this marker size here and name it. So I'll double click on this one here and I'll call this section A, and I'll do it again and I'll call this bit section B. This allows me, holding the option key down, to change this and give it ternary form with one click. So we can see what it sounds like going from A to B to A. And then we could say, well, what would it be like if section A was twice? Well, I'm not sure we can get away with hearing that twice through. So if we hear just that without the drums, can we get away with that as an intro? Because it'll work, same chords, but in the next section we then add drums. Give you a drum fill. So there's a sense of structure there, isn't there? So that's going fine. And in terms of using USB devices and MIDI, that's great. What about audio instruments and line level instruments? How easy to integrate them into what we're doing? Well, what we can do, you can plug your guitar straight into the line in on a Mac. You can do it with every single Mac except the Mac Mini, and even then you can get a little USB adapter for it, very, very cheap. And what you can do, click on the plus symbol like I've been showing you, but this time select the new one, the electric guitar track. Select create, and you have access to all these wonderful simulated amps and their pedals. These are all built in. So from this menu I can then pick up all these presets. Sort of 80s alternative. So if I like that, I can play this in of my putt piece, and I just hit record exactly the same as before. The thing is, there's just a composition exercise. You can write the chords out and you can get your many guitarist to guest on that and play the guitar part in. But it adds so much to it. Now, we could go further just to show you that the electric guitar parts, they're really varied and the sounds are absolutely amazing. So if I pick up Stadium Solo, you'll hear a completely, I'm going to turn it down a bit, but it'll give you an idea of the kind of sounds that you've got, and they sound amazing. So, you don't like it, I can hit backspace, delete that part, and I can delete that track. But it means that we can integrate what we're doing with guitars and basses. Of course, there's a bass amp simulator in there as well. So we can easily facilitate those. When it comes to acoustic instruments, violins, flutes, etc., etc., we can do things like use USB microphones. So what's great about these is they don't have a mini jack or a 1/4-inch jack or an XLR, because for those you'll need to buy an audio interface to plug them into, and then you'll need to spend more money. For £60–70 you can have two or three of these around, and you don't need to be using them all at the same time, obviously. What you do with this with the Mac, because it's device compliant, you just plug the Samson. It's a Samson CO1U. It's a fantastic mic for this, because the performance of the mic, the quality versus the price, is just incredible. So I'm going to just click yes. This time though on my plus symbol, what I'm going to do is select the real instrument. Now I could use the inbuilt condenser mic, but I've recorded grand pianos, choirs with this, and it just sounds fantastic. Just get it close to the recording, the recording source, and you'll be fine. So in this case, I'll click create, and what I want to point out is that the recording level is there on the bottom right hand side of that information browser. What this will allow you to do is use an acoustic instrument and record it straight in. Just get the positioning right. Obviously here it's a bit noisy, but it'll do enough for the demonstration purposes of recording this. So all we have to do is change. I'll just probably take the whole main output down a little bit from GarageBand, hopefully enough for me to hear, and keep the recording level down a little bit, and we'll add an acoustic instrument over the top of this.